What's going on, guys? This is Michael MGF, and today I'm going to be doing my first LEGO Marvel Superheroes Guardians of the Galaxy review. Well, and it has a piece count of 433, while the price is $39.99. And I definitely think the price is fair. You get a lot for the 40 bucks. You get 4 iconic characters straight out of the movie, and then the actual playset itself is actually directly taken from the movie as well. I'm not sure if the same characters will be in this same scene in the movie, but I mean, who cares, because I do know that vehicle that Rocket's going to be using, that's actually in the movie, so that's kind of cool, because you guys might remember the Iron Man 3 sets, they didn't actually have some of the vehicles that were in those sets weren't actually even in the movie. But regardless, these sets are now starting to come out. Unfortunately, though, for those of you who kind of like want these right now, we can't really get the other 2 sets until June 1st, because LEGO Group has I mean, unless you're lucky, like some people, and your Toys R Us / LEGO stores don't follow that rule, then hey, you can go and pick them up right now. But unfortunately, mine heavily enforced that rule, but for some reason, I guess LEGO Group had a mishap when shipping this specific set to Toys R Us's, because there's no street date on this set. This is the only this is the only of the 3 Guardian sets that actually doesn't have a street date on it. Raccoon and Groot, because it's available now, and I'm pretty sure only 4 of these sets are being shipped to each Toys R Us right now, because that's what I've been hearing for the most part, and there are only 4 at mine. So yeah, but this set is super awesome. It does have its share of flaws. I'll go over all of this right now, but first of all, let's go ahead and we'll take a look at all 4 of the minifigures included with the Nowhere Escape mission. So we're just going to start off with the minifigure that I think all of you want to see. We've got the first ever Rocket Raccoon, and this is clearly the minifigure I think we're all here for. With this figure is fantastic, featuring a new mold, a massive gun, and the orb, which is going to be one of the major plot points in the movie. But first of all, before we talk about the awesomeness of the minifigure, the orb is going to be, like I said, one of the major plot points of the movie. And in the actual film, it's a lot more detailed than this, but I mean, this still works regardless, because, I mean, really, what else is the LEGO Group supposed to do? I don't think they really needed to waste any time printing all the details of the orb onto this, so I think it's fine and definitely gets the job done. And but if we go ahead and remove it, we can go ahead and get a better look at his gun. And his gun is it's massive. So when you're standing this minifigure up, you know, when he's not standing on actual official LEGO studs, he just kind of falls over. I mean, he looks okay when you balance him on the gun, but it is definitely pretty massive. It's a fairly simple design, but it's a cool design. I mean, yeah, I'll give it that, but I mean, it is a little bit bigger than I probably would have preferred, but it still works, and honestly, I do like it. And but we're just going to go ahead and move it out of the way for now to get a better look at Rocket himself. And this is the outfit that he wears in the movie, the orange outfit, and it's really great with little hints of brown in it, all the silver zippers and things like that. It's just a really cool and nicely detailed outfit. I really like these little black stripes here. Those really add a nice level of detail. But yeah, but before we move on to the back of the raccoon head, now this raccoon head, it is exactly like Rocket. I think it's freaking fantastic. I think it's great in every regard, and it's just flat out awesome if you ask me. And the printing on it's great, the eyes, the fur, it's just all really great. I couldn't ask for more with a Rocket head. And he has this, like, you know, this shoulder pauldron going around his neck, and while it's nice and it adds a nice level of detail and just a nice, it's nice to have something, you know, that's a little more than just his head and arms for the minifigure. So it's great to have the pauldron. But my only minor thing, guys, see, he can slightly move it, but really he can't move it. And that's the letdown with Rocket, is that he can't move his head at all. And you guys know Rocket and the way he moves. I think moving his head would have at least been nice to have, but unfortunately, it was a sacrifice the LEGO Group decided to make just to have this shoulder pauldron. So, and I could probably picture Rocket looking pretty bad without it. So I'm not complaining about it. It's just a little bit of a letdown. But then the tail is definitely pretty cool. I don't believe this is the same tail that we saw with the Simpsons minifigure, as some of you guys have been wondering. But we're going to go ahead and actually remove Rocket's. Definitely think it looks great. It's just, you know, it's just kind of sucks that we can't move his head. But yeah, and then you can see his tail here is really great with the fur detail on it. Really awesome new mold. And I don't quote me on it, but I'm pretty sure that's not the same tail that we saw with the Simpsons minifigure. I could be wrong though. But yeah, so then we're going to go ahead and get a better look at the back of his torso here. And you can see it's actually really nice. It has a green green circle in the middle of it with sort of like straps coming down from the sides. Really nicely printed torsos on both sides, and the tail is great. I mean, that in my opinion, the same can't be said for Groot, which I'll get to after the other two minifigures, Nebula and the Sakaran Soldier. But I mean, Rocket is everything I wanted him to be, and the minor problem with him not being able to move his head doesn't take away from how great the likeness is to Rocket, and I'm really looking forward to Bradley Cooper's performance as this iconic raccoon. So yeah, other than that though, there's Rocket Raccoon, the gun-wielding, experiment gone wrong badass. So let's take a look at Nebula. And last time I gave away who the Winter Soldier was, and people freaked out over how bad the spoiler was, even though it's honestly common knowledge. But therefore, I guess I won't tell you who Nebula's adoptive father is, because it's kind of a major character. But yeah, I mean, I think Nebula is a problem with Nebula that really doesn't take away too much from the entire minifigure. And that problem is the fact that she's more of a sand blue, or maybe a medium blue. It's just using normal blue isn't exactly the way I would have gone with making Nebula, because she's not really a normal blue. She's more of a sand blue or medium blue, which are two other colors the LEGO Group could have gone with, but instead they went with normal blue, and it's not that bad. I'm not complaining. It's just a minor thing I noticed. And I think the head is really great, though. It's really nicely detailed. It captures all the main elements of Nebula's face, and it especially looks just like Karen Gillan, so I mean, no real complaints there. And then she does have this chrome arm, because she's famous for having she had to amputate her arm at one point in the comics, and she's famous for having the cybernetic one, so that's definitely pretty cool. And then the torso printing and on both sides, it's relatively minor, but it is still effective and accurate to her suit, so no complaints there. She has a standard pair of legs, which could have used a little bit of printing, I might say, but it doesn't really matter in the long run, because this minifigure still does get the job done and is really great for the most part. And then of course she has her two black swords, so you do get an extra one of these. You'll see it at the toward the end of this video, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, there's Nebula. And we've got our Sakaran Soldier, and this guy is definitely really awesome. And if there's anything these Sakaran soldiers are, it's detailed. And these guys are great, and they look like they're just straight out of the trailer, and that includes their newly molded guns. And this looks really great and just super accurate to what the guns we just saw them recently use in the second trailer for the film. We have studs attached to it on either side, so it's really nice. And you can see we actually can have him grip it by the pump on the bottom of it, so it's pretty awesome. So, and I can just see this being used for various different Purist minifigures, and maybe even future customs. So it's great to see a new mold of a new gun, because we don't usually get to see that, because usually it's brick built like Rocket. So I think I kind of wish Rocket would have had his own newly molded gun as well, but hey, whatever. But if we go ahead and remove the hood off of the Sakaran Soldier here, you can see that his face is heavily detailed with all kinds of different wrinkles in it. And you can see the Sakarans on this side of their face, they only have one eye, which is also accurate, and it looks great. And if we go ahead and actually flip his head around, and this time they actually have two eyes, and it's actually really detailed as well. You have different shades in their eyes, and this time I assume that because that entire blank space there underneath the eyes, I assume that would be like a really ugly looking mouth. So it's pretty awesome. And if we go ahead and just take a look at the torso as well, you can see we have these claw marks, which I assume is some sort of like Sakaran symbol, because wherever Sakarans show up in a set, they seem to bring these like bloody claw marks slash blood splatter symbols with them. So I assume that's some sort of Sakaran symbol. And you can also continuing the same pattern, but obviously just in a different way. And it looks great, and just a heavily detailed minifigure. And it's great that we get multiple of these in each set, but obviously not multiple, but at least one in each set. So that's pretty much it for your Sakaran Soldier, and it's a great minifigure overall, and I'm definitely very fond of it. Alright, and for our final figure of the Nowhere Escape mission, we've got the famous Groot, the say on the analysis video, so I assume a lot of you guys are going to disagree with what I have to say in this review of the actual set. In the fact that this is honestly really disappointing to me. This is I'll just throw it out there right now. I understand Groot can grow and he can make himself look this big, but I don't really think that that was necessary, if that's specifically why the LEGO Group wanted to make him this big. But honestly, the only reason I'm seeing the fact that the LEGO Group would want to make him this big is, one, the articulation, making him a lot more easy to play with. You can, the playability is, the amount of playability is is much higher that you can do, and but then also you have the jumper plates on his shoulders. So then I think Lego really wanted to have Rocket be able to go on his shoulders, and I think that's great. I think having articulation and being able to have Rocket on his shoulder, just like in the movie, I think that's cool. But I just bumped the camera. But I think those are two features that I really would have been willing to sacrifice to have Groot just look more like Groot. And it's not just that, it's also the colors are off, and because he's this big, the LEGO Group really couldn't put that much moss on him. You only have moss on his legs and on his torso, and other than that, you just have some dark green plates here and here, and you're just supposed to assume that's moss. And then you have these light gray ball joint pieces, and those should have been at least brown or something, because there's no light gray on Groot, really, for the most part, and it's just... I don't really think this was the right way to go with Groot. And yeah, the points of articulation are great. I'll go over those real quick. There are 10 major points of articulation, excluding his fingers. You have articulation in his shoulders here, and obviously this is the same for the other arm. You have articulation in his elbow and also on his wrist joint. So yeah, you have a lot of ball joints that make him really poseable, and therefore, like I said, he's easier to play with for younger kids. And I mean, you can do more with this Groot, and I guess that was the main decision making behind this, making Groot this big. But I mean, for me, honestly, me being the customizer, me being the one who focuses primarily on minifigures from these sets, I just really would have liked to see a minifigure version of Groot and not have him brick built, because not only reasons as to why this Groot may look right to you, but personally with me, I would have preferred a Groot that looks more like what we've seen from him so far in the trailers for Guardians of the Galaxy, and this is honestly just kind of disappointing in my book. But I mean, there he is. There's Groot. The printing is kind of nice. The face looks like Groot. I have to give him that. At least the face is really nicely printed, but there's no moss on it, because you can't put that much printing on this to make him look, as mossy as he really is in the film. That's another downside. And it's great printing in some areas, but I mean, for the most part, it's just disappointing if you ask me. But that's... Other than that, there you go, and let's go ahead and move on to the actual set back there. And I've already moved the rest of the minifigures aside, because we're going to start off with the mining pod, and that's why I still have Rocket here. So the mining pod is actually going to be in the film, unlike some of the vehicles from the past Iron Man 3 sets, so that's pretty cool. And it's definitely a really cool vehicle. It's colorful, it has a lot of detail on it, and a heavy amount of stickers, but it's still really awesome regardless. We can go ahead and we actually have a chair in there, and it's actually pretty cool. You have a little control panel piece right here. This is actually a sticker, but it is definitely pretty cool with a nice level of detail. It kind of has like a caution sign underneath it, and then the actual like control panel for the mining pod on top of those caution signs. So we can go ahead and take Rocket, and then you can see a little chair piece in there. You have two available tails to fit in as well. So he sits in there really nicely, because clearly this thing is designed for Rocket, so it's pretty awesome. And then the cockpit just folds right over that, and it's a really cool little vehicle. And you can see we actually have securing the orb, the main plot point of the movie. So you have the orb here, and if you just take a little time here, you can actually get it, get the claws to clench onto it, and it's pretty awesome. It's a nice grip. But taking it back out just for the meantime, you can see we actually have these clear pieces here. I don't know what this actually means, but I assume it implies that in the movie, these robot arms will actually be levitating in front of the mining pod, not this thing is pretty packed with stickers, and the problem with the stickers is while they are really detailed, it takes a little bit of time to apply them all. So you have a good amount of stickers on this thing, like I already pointed out, the control panel one there, caution signs here, a caution symbol here, and then 4 more caution signs on the back, and another sticker here, which is pretty much just for added detail. So I mean, it's not that bad, but it's a little bit of a irritation. But if we go ahead and reopen this little hatch piece, I don't know why I said reopen, I haven't opened it yet. We can go ahead and take these little shells, and we get a lot of these in this set. I don't know what they are yet. I did some research on this set, and no one really seems to know what they are yet. But I guess this pretty much takes place in pretty much it for the mining pod that Rocket Raccoon has. And now we're going to move on to the actual mining field. So the mining for its main projectile, so that's pretty awesome. And then you also have these stickers on the sides of it here and then on here. So it's a nice added detail for the Sakarans, given that this is kind of like their main symbol, like here, which is pretty cool. And those handlebars are obviously meant for the Sakaran to what is that even a word? To grasp onto. So we can go ahead and just get him in the right position here, and then he grips onto the handlebars really nicely, and just like so. So it's a nice design, and honestly, I think we need more turrets like this in Star Wars sets, because not only is it a really nice and sturdy and well-built turret, but you can actually have a minifigure, you know, using it. So I think that's pretty cool and something that we don't usually see with most turrets in sci-fi sets. But yeah, and then obviously this is a spring-loaded shooter, so you can fire the projectile. So let's get Groot over here temporarily, and we can shoot Groot in the face, because you guys already heard my opinion on him. So yeah, there's that, and that went flying. I'll have to get the extra one later, but for now, we'll just go ahead and put it back on top of the mining field area, and just it sits right on top there, which is pretty much where it's meant to go, but obviously you can move it around wherever you want. And I didn't mention it earlier, but you can actually bend this thing up and down, so it's a pretty cool little turret. So yeah, then the rest of the set, like I mentioned, is really just a lot of dark red pieces and transparent red pieces and playability features. That's really all it is, but it is still pretty effective regardless. And you can see here we actually have a catapult with more of these. You actually have more of these in this little like this little I guess you can say it's kind of loaded up, and then like most catapults, you just fire it, and I'm horrible at it, and it's not really that effective all that much, and you can go ahead and just easily put it right back in place, because you have this here. So once again, say we have Nebula here to remove her sword, or else she won't fall through it. So say we have Nebula here, you just put her right on that little you know, circular plate, and then you just pull on this little Technic pin, and then down she goes into the lava. And just to show you that lava, we're actually going to go ahead and use this playability feature to get the column to come up, and or maybe not, because they don't want to cooperate. But it's a really cool playability feature. I mean, you have a lot of nice playability features with this thing, and that's really, and quite clearly, all it's meant to do is just a lot of playability features with some more transparent yellow studs. So pretty cool little lava design and a nice playability feature. Love that trapdoor. And a bunch of transparent yellow and red pieces. So it's pretty awesome though, and I'm definitely fond of it. Yeah, so other than that though, that's pretty much it for the mining fields of Knowhere. And you have the mining pod as well for Rocket. So it's a great little playset, especially for the upcoming film Guardians of the Galaxy. And I definitely think it was definitely, you know, it's a great idea, and it's a solid Guardians of the Galaxy set. So I definitely recommend this set and everything it has to offer, because you have a lot of playability features and some fantastic minifigures. Groot could have been better. We could have got Star-Lord. But I mean, when it comes to the actual set, there really aren't any problems. Other than this, the top half of the column kind of falls apart a little bit, and that's kind of a bit of a problem. But I mean, really, there really are no issues with the actual set other than just some nitpicks. So definitely fond of this set overall, and I highly recommend it. And you know you're going to get it anyway for Rocket and Groot. So yeah, other than that though, that's pretty much it for this review, guys. Let's go ahead and take a look at the box, instruction manual, extra pieces, and we'll conclude this review. The box is definitely pretty nice, and clearly the expected size for a $40 set, I assume, is the name of the location, even though LEGO is not very clear with where this set takes place. You have the actual size reference up here, which is sported by Rocket, so that's pretty cool. Comic Adventure included, which I will show you quite shortly. And then on the back, we've got the rest of the features that I just went over with this set, all of which are definitely pretty effective in terms of playability, because other than the awesome minifigures and the mining pod, this thing is just one giant play. And we do get 2 instruction manuals for this set. It's kind of unnecessary, but it's, I guess, hey, why not? And inside, you can see it's just the basic build. The first book is pretty much the rest of the instruction manuals. Moving into the second one, starts off with the mission, or not I'm saying mission because I'm so used to saying Knowhere escape mission for this set, but you start off building the mining pod, which is what I was trying to say there, and then the rest of the mining field portion of the set. So it's pretty cool, and then you have an advertisement for LEGO Marvel Superheroes, because why not? And other than that though, it's really, there's nothing special for these instruction manuals other than this, which is an advertisement for the rest of the sets that are coming out this Sunday, and they definitely look pretty awesome with the Milano spaceship along with you know, Star-Lord and Ronan. It looks really awesome. I'm highly looking forward to reviewing those for you guys. And other than that though, that's pretty much it for the instruction manuals of the Knowhere escape mission. And we have the comic book for the new lineup of LEGO Marvel Superhero sets, and this does actually include the comic for the X-Men set, which I am going to be reviewing next. I still have yet to build this thing, but I'm definitely looking forward to reviewing it, and if all goes according to plan, that is, I'll be reviewing it next. But the comic book here is pretty cool, with a nice cover art of all the main minifigures, and Star-Lord flying through the air, and then you have some pictures of the Nova Corps, and it's a pretty cool little comic. And you can see we have Star-Lord facing off against a Sakaran and a little, you know, the Sakaran fighter, and then the Milano spaceship comes in. And then we have this page with Rocket and everyone saving the day and all that stuff. But then you have this set, which is the Nowhere Escape mission, where Nebula comes into play and they're fighting over the orb, and then Groot comes in, and then Groot stops Nebula and takes out another Sakaran with, and you can see Rocket gets into the mining pod, and it's a pretty cool comic book. I think I'm getting kind of bored of commentating over it because, like I said, you can just pause it for yourself. But it's definitely a comic version of Days of Future Past because LEGO doesn't have the rights to make sets based off the recently released film or any of the film. Magneto and Storm and Cyclops and all of them battling it out, along with the rest of it, which is over here with more Magneto and Wolverine, and pretty cool comic, like I said. I mean, like I told you, I was going to give you a horrible commentary, and that's what I did. And then you have the back, which is just a cover art for that set as well. A set that I highly recommend. That's it for the comic. And that's it. That's pretty much the comic for the entire lineup that we're going to get with the rest of these sets. So, yeah. You get a pretty nice variety of extra pieces with the Nowhere Escape mission, and obviously you get a spring-loaded shooter with this set, and therefore you get an extra, you know, spring-loaded shooter piece. So that's expected, and then we get an extra sword for Nebula, and that's pretty awesome. Always nice to have more swords. We have another antenna piece, and other than that, it's just a nice variety. An extra tooth for Groot's hand, but yeah, extra pieces. Not really much to say. Peter Quill, what's up?
Rocket, that blue bald-headed freak Nebula took the orb.
Alright, I'm on it. Let's go. Alright guys, and there you have it, the review on the Nowhere Escape mission, the very first of my Guardians of the Galaxy set reviews, and I'm really looking forward to reviewing the other two. But I mean, regardless guys, if you enjoyed my review or found this informative, be sure to let me know by dropping this video a like below and or your opinion in the comments, because both definitely go a long way and mean a lot. 2 hours of recording and then maybe 4 to 6 hours of editing. It's not as easy as you might think, so like I said, your support definitely goes a long way. But you can also follow me on the Twitters and the book face. Links to both of those are always in the description below, and there I post all kinds of behind the scenes photos and updates of what I'm up to and what's to come for my channel. And I've been posting a lot of X-Men Days of Future Past photos of the custom figures that I made for that film recently. That movie was awesome, by the way. But now we've got this movie to look forward to, and these sets that are now coming out in celebration of it, so I'm really looking forward to Guardians of the Galaxy and Howard 5 review. And I'll see you next time. Alright. Bye! Super red looking lighting for no reason, yay! While the price is $49.99. No wait, it's $39.99. Gosh damn it. The box is pretty nice, and it is the size you would expect for... Man. We get an extra katana for, damn it. I know her name by... Let's give you more mess up so you have to edit in more bloopers at the end of your video. Haha! The box is definitely pretty... I just realized I forgot to... Oh god, it's falling, don't kill me!